Page 22, Spanish dance. 3/4 time, no sharps or flats. In the key signature, we're in the key of C major here. Or is it A minor? Well, actually a little bit of both. You're starting out in C major. If you look at the end of page 22, it's a C chord. But then when you get to page 23, you're up here. So page 23 is in C minor, or A minor, excuse me, and page 22 is in C major. They have the same key signatures, and that's common. They can do that, it's true. Let's check notes and rhythms and so forth. The right hand, you're coming on beat 2 here. You kind of here. So it's 2, 3, 1 and 2 and. Thumb comes down. We just changed hand positions. Now it's third line, it's 4/2. Again, repeated notes. We changed hand positions. We take advantage of the repeated notes to change hand positions. So it's here to here. And then we're back to where we were. Last line on page 22, third measure, second finger. It's 1 thumb, 2, 3, 1. It's a C major scale fingering. We just the left hand played the C, you know, so it's just starting here. Here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, and then here. Okay. Then immediately go up. So it's the top of page 23. 1 and. So forth. Third line down on page 23, you're here, octave, and then 4 and 1. Again, we take advantage of the repeated notes to change hand positions. And the last line, crossover, I suggest third finger. You can do 2 if you'd like, but I'm a little closer to where I want to be, and they have a 2. Well, you could have done that same fingering at the bottom of page 22 if you wanted. You can do a 2, 3. You can also do a 1, 2. You decide. 2, 3 is nice. But if you're going to do 2, 3 at the bottom of page 23, then I suggest you do 2, 3 at the bottom of page 22. It's the same thing, a different key. Yeah, be consistent, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Left hand just had broken chords. Isn't this fun? Last line, you're here. Well, the third line, last measure, you're here. It's a 4 chord broken. And then here, 1, 4, 1, 4. That's all. 1 and 2 and 3 and to help out with that scale. Page 23, A minor. Okay. Second line, third measure, that ugly looking chord, that is an A, an E flat, and an F. You're going to enjoy that because you get to hold it down for the whole measure, isn't that nice? And then go on. Just reach down. Now, they put in eighth notes and an eighth rest, starting with the last measure of the second line on page 23. It's here. Go back to the quarter notes. I'll explain more about that when we get into the articulation part of it. Then put the hands together, see if they can, you're here, here, and then here, here, and then here. So you put the hands together. Then at the bottom of the page, on page 22, this run needs to sound like one hand played the whole thing. All the way through. So you make that match and connect them. Here and then here. So you go through and put the hands together. take out the hesitations, steady beat. This is a dance, doesn't matter, it should still be a steady beat. And then we do this articulation. We got staccatos and accents and things going on. Accent, staccato. Give it a little extra oomph. You get a natural accent on the first beat of the measure anyway, but this is more than that. Both hands. And then you can go ahead and do that. If you want to disconnect all this left hand. A lot of times in the left hand we do an chuck chuck because we connect the first two. But if you want to disconnect them all, try out both ways and see what you like. Then in the last line you hear lift up, staccato, don't accent, it's just staccato. Staccato and then accent. Actually, I disagree with this. At the bottom they have accented staccatos with sforzandos on them. No. Sforzando is the strongest accent there is in music. It is a major accent. You don't need an accent mark with a sforzando. The sforzando overrides the accent. Just play it with a loud accent. Just play them. It's very loud and short. Okay. And then staccato. But feel the natural accent. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then at the end of the second line, your accent, staccato. In the left hand, it's only accent on the first beat. And then staccato. Then at the end, those are staccatos, no accents. And this is where the notation, you notice in the left hand, page 23, second line last measure, and the third line first measure. They have eighth note, eighth rest. This is to match what the right hand is doing on here. Accent. Because if you disconnect these, it sounds about the same. Except you're not accenting them. But they're matching what's going on in the right hand. Here, both hands are doing it. It's just, you have an accent there, but not in the left hand. And then you... different ways of interpreting the music, but that's sort of, and it's a bit tricky because you're doing different things in the hands at the same time. Dynamic wise, it goes to the right hand is melody. Makes the accent and notes very loud. The left hand, keep it in the background. And then all of a sudden, top page 23, you're soft. Left hand's very soft. Crescendo up, loud, soft. Now that's tricky. When you're changing from one dynamic to another instantly, that's hard. So in the third line, you're loud, soft. And you end it soft, there. Well, that's not really the end of the piece, but it's the end of that page. As far as speed goes, Allegro's fast. Think of people dancing. This is a party piece. It has to be accurate and it has to be controlled, and these eighth notes have to be even. So you decide, I mean, that's going to slow you down a little bit, that's fine, but it needs to be accurate, and it's the same speed throughout. Now, the DC al fine at the bottom of page 23, remember DC means go back to the beginning, and the al fine is at the bottom of page 22. There, and they did put a thin and thick bar line here, finally. That's what I think should happen, yeah, because it's the end of the piece. Now, one little thing I overlooked, and I want to point it out. I tend to overlook things. Now, oh, by the way, on page 22, at the end of the third line, in the left hand, they've slurred this all of a sudden. They want that connected for some reason. You don't get this passage on page 23, but you get it here. So go ahead and just connect it. That's fine. So you're disconnecting it. then go ahead and connect it to the next note too, the staccato. Go ahead and connect it to the G. Now, also I want to remind you, when you're playing these runs, like at the bottom of page 22, it's important that you still feel a sense of a beat. That you haven't, it's just not a bunch of whatever. There's a beat, there's a rhythm here. And so when you're first doing it, I suggest you exaggerate it and force it. For 1 and 2 and 3 and bring it. Feel that, and as you play it, you won't accent it on purpose. You'll feel it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 1. You'll feel this as time goes on. And it's very important that you feel the rhythm as you're doing these runs. Don't just blah. Now there are times in advanced music where they do blah. But I can assure you, when they're first learning it and practicing it, they're practicing it in rhythm. They're doing 16th notes or something. You start out slow with maybe quarter notes, and then maybe eighth notes, and then maybe 64th notes later, or even triplets. You're feeling this, and you're gradually speeding it up over time, and then eventually you just feel it. And here in this piece, because we're feeling a beat, 1, 2, 3, feel that beat as you're doing that. So that's a 1, 1, 2, 3, all the way through. I like to play it with you slowly to double check all the notes and rhythms and things. Not going to do any dynamics. I will do the accents and staccatos. We will do the DC all fine part. So I'll give us 4 counts. That's a full 3 counts because it's a 3/4 time, plus 1 because we come in on beat 2. 1, 2, 3, go. Rest. Trust.